The cameras were rolling, the lights were hot, and the whole world was watching. You had the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, standing there, pouring his heart out about the future of his region, talking about peace in a place that has seen too much sorrow. And right next to him, sitting in the big chair at the newly named Donald J. Trump Institute of Peace, was the President of the United States. But he wasn't really there, was he? His chin was down on his chest, his eyes were heavy, then the head dropped a sudden jerk back up. We've all seen it. We've all felt that heavy feeling after a big Thanksgiving meal. But this wasn't Thanksgiving. Folks, this was history being written, and the man holding the pen was out cold. Before I tell you why this breaks my heart, and it should break yours too, I need you to do something for me. We are in a fight for the soul of this nation, and I can't do it alone. I need you on the team. Hit that subscribe button right now. Become a member of this channel. Let's keep having these real conversations, just you and me. Now look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I haven't heard the jokes for 4 years. I heard it every single day. Sleepy Joe, he's low energy, he's in the basement. Donald Trump built his whole brand on telling you that I didn't have the stamina to do the job. He told you he was the strong one, the awake one, the one with all the energy in the world. And yet on Thursday, December 4th, when the cameras were live and the stakes were high, it wasn't me nodding off. It was Dozy Don. It's almost funny if you don't think about what it actually means. The internet is having a field day. I know the memes are flying. People are laughing. But let me tell you something, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I'm not laughing. I'm not happy to see this, because when the President of the United States falls asleep in front of foreign leaders, the world isn't laughing with us. They are laughing at us. We are talking about the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda. We are talking about millions of lives affected by conflict. President Tshisekedi and President Kagame traveled thousands of miles to look America in the eye and shake hands on a future of peace. They deserve respect. They deserve a president who can keep his eyes open long enough to hear what they have to say. It's not about age. I've always said that it's about presence, it's about dignity. When you sit in that chair, you aren't just a man named Donald. You are America. And America should never be caught sleeping on the job. This is just about one bad afternoon. If it were just one time, maybe we could say, okay, the man is 79 years old. Maybe he didn't sleep well. We've all been there. My father, God rest his soul, used to say, Joey, everyone gets tired, but not everyone gives up. But here's the deal. This is becoming a pattern. Just this past Tuesday at a cabinet meeting, the same thing happened. His own people were talking, discussing the business of the people, and there he was, drifting away again, 2 times in 1 week. You have to ask yourself, is this the strength we were promised? We were told we needed a tough guy. We were told we needed someone who dominates the room. But you can't dominate a room if you aren't even conscious in it. And while he's napping, the world is moving. The machinery of government is grinding on. And who is steering the ship? Is it him, or is it the people whispering in his ear while he wakes up? I look at this footage, and I don't see a strong man. I see a man who is exhausted, and frankly, I see a man who doesn't care enough to stay awake. You know, back in Scranton, if you fell asleep on the assembly line, or if you fell asleep driving the bus, you didn't just get a funny nickname. You faced consequences. People's safety depended on you. Well, the safety of the free world depends on the man in the Oval Office. Imagine being President Kagame in that moment. You are delivering a speech that defines your legacy. You look over hoping for a nod of understanding from the American president, and instead you see him fighting gravity. It's humiliating. Not for Trump. He doesn't seem to get embarrassed by much. For you and me, for the idea of American leadership, Secretary Rubio was there. I saw his face in the clips. He looked uncomfortable, shifting in his seat, trying to make noise, maybe hoping to stir the boss without making a scene. It's chaotic, folks. It's a mess. And deep down, even the people who voted for him, the people who bought the hats and the flags, they have to be looking at this and thinking, is this what we signed up for? We deserve better than a leader who treats a historic peace deal like a bedtime story. We deserve a president who understands that showing up is the bare minimum. We need to wake up, America, because right now, the guy at the wheel is fast asleep. You know, one of the things that gets me the most about this whole situation is the setting. They held this ceremony at the newly branded Donald J. Trump Institute of Peace. He put his name in big gold letters right on the front of the building. That's what he does. He loves the branding. He loves the show. He wants you to look at the name on the wall and think big things. But here's the deal, folks. You can paint your name on every building in Washington, D.C., but if you don't have the energy to do the work inside those buildings, it doesn't mean a thing. It's all showmanship. It's all reality TV. But the presidency isn't a TV show. You can't just edit out the boring parts. You can't cut to a commercial break when the speeches get too long. You have to sit there. You have to listen. You have to give a damn. And that's what we saw missing on Thursday. It wasn't just that his eyes closed. It was that he checked out, he tuned out the world because it wasn't entertaining enough for him. And I think about what that says to the working people of this country. I think about the truck drivers who drive through the night to put food on our shelves. I think about the nurses working double shifts in the ER, standing on their feet for 12 hours straight. I think about the single mom in Detroit working 2 jobs just to keep the lights on. Do they get to nod off? Do they get to slump over in their chairs when things get a little slow? No, they don't. Because if they do, they lose their paycheck, they lose their livelihood. But Donald Trump, he falls asleep while representing the United States of America, and his team just spins it. They make excuses. They say the lighting was dim or the jet lag was bad. Folks, he hasn't traveled anywhere. He was right here in Washington. It's a double standard that stares you right in the face. He expects you to work until you drop, but he can't even keep his head up for a peace treaty. It tells you everything you need to know about who he really fights for. He fights for himself, and when the spotlight isn't directly on him, telling him how great he is, he loses interest. He literally falls asleep. That's not leadership, that's negligence. Let's talk about what this looks like to the rest of the world, because we aren't an island. We are the leader of the free world, or at least we used to be when I was in office. I spent every single day working to rebuild our alliances, to make sure our friends trusted us and our enemies feared us. It takes work. It takes hours of phone calls, face-to-face meetings, looking people in the eye and telling them the truth. Now, look at the message we just sent. You have President Kagame and President Tshisekedi there. These are serious men dealing with serious problems, deadly problems. They're looking to America for guidance. And what do they see? They see a president who looks like he's ready for a nap in his armchair at Mar-a-Lago. It's humiliating. It makes us look small. It makes us look like our best days are behind us. And don't think for a second that our adversaries aren't watching this on a loop. You think Xi Jinping in China is sleeping during his meetings? You think Putin is nodding off in the Kremlin? Not a chance. They're wide awake. They're watching this footage, and they are high-fiving each other. They see an opening. They see a distracted, tired America. They see a president who doesn't have the stamina to stay in the game. Donald Trump spent 4 years, 4 long years telling you that I was the one who was too old. He called me Sleepy Joe so many times, I stopped counting. He sold you this idea that he was the energetic, tough guy who would dominate the world stage. Well, where is that energy now? Where is that toughness? It turns out it was all projection. It was all a con. It hurts me to say this. I don't want the American president to fail. When the president does well, the country does well. But we are watching a man who is clearly not up to the task. We are watching a decline play out on live television, and it is dangerous. We can't afford a part-time president in a full-time world. We can't afford a leader who needs a nap when history is calling. The world is getting more dangerous, not less. And we need someone at the helm who is awake, alert, and ready to steer the ship through the storm. Right now, the captain is asleep at the wheel. You know, for a long time, I tried to take the high road when they called me names, when they went after my family. I tried to focus on the work. I tried to focus on you, but I have to be honest with you. Watch this hypocrisy without saying a word. It's hard to watch a man who spent millions of dollars on attack ads about energy levels, now unable to keep his chin off his chest in the middle of the work week. And it's not just the sleeping, it's what the sleeping represents. It represents a lack of stamina. Sure, but more than that, it represents a lack of interest in the job itself. Being president isn't just about the rallies. It isn't just about the cheering crowds or the helicopter rides. It's about the boring stuff. It's about the briefings. It's about the details. It's about listening to people who disagree with you, or listening to complex problems that don't have easy answers. On Tuesday at that cabinet meeting, reports say he dozed off while they were discussing infrastructure. Infrastructure. That's the stuff that keeps our bridges from falling down. That's the stuff that makes sure you have clean water coming out of your tap. And he couldn't stay with it. He checked out. If the president doesn't care enough to stay awake for the safety of our roads and bridges, who is looking out for you, who is making sure the job gets done, it makes you wonder who is really running the show over there. When the boss is asleep, the mice will play. We've got unelected advisors, people you never voted for, making decisions while the president catches up on his rest. That's not democracy. That's a shadow government, and it scares me. It should scare you. We voted for a leader, not a figurehead. We voted for someone to take responsibility, not someone who needs a nap time scheduled between meetings. I'm not trying to be mean here. Getting old is not a crime. I know that better than anyone. But the presidency is a 24/7 job. It demands 100% of your focus. And if you can't give it that, if you can't summon the energy to do the basic duties of the office, then you are putting the country at risk. It's that simple. We are drifting, folks. We are drifting without a captain, and the waters are getting choppy. I want to go back to the folks in the room at that Peace Institute. I've met many world leaders in my time. I've looked them in the eye. I know that for a country like Rwanda or the Democratic Republic of Congo, getting the attention of the American president is a big deal. It's a lifeline. It's a chance to change the course of history for their people. Imagine the preparation they went through. They probably spent weeks writing those speeches. They flew across the ocean. They put on their best suits. They came with hope. And then the moment comes, President Kagame starts speaking about the pain his people have suffered, about the hope for a new beginning. And he looks over and he sees the President of the United States gone, eyes shut, head drooping. It's the ultimate disrespect. It says, you don't matter to me. It says, your problems aren't worth my time. And that hurts. It hurts our standing in Africa. It hurts our standing in the global South. For years, we've been trying to tell these nations that America is a better partner than China. We've been telling them that we care about democracy and human rights and their future, but you can't fake respect, you can't fake caring. And when you fall asleep in their faces, you undo years of diplomacy in 5 minutes, China doesn't have to spend a dime on propaganda this week. They can just play that clip of Trump sleeping. They can say, look, America is tired. America is checking out. Come with us instead. And you know what? It's a hard argument to counter when the proof is right there on the screen. We are losing our moral authority. We are losing our ability to lead by example. My dad used to tell me, Joey, nobody is better than you. But you are better than nobody. That means you treat everyone with dignity. You treat the janitor the same way you treat the queen. Donald Trump forgot that rule a long time ago. He thinks he's better than everyone, so he doesn't have to listen. He doesn't have to pay attention. And because of that arrogance, America is being laughed at. And worse, America is being left behind. You know, I've heard the phrase America first more times than I can count over the last decade. It was a slogan on the hats, it was a chant at the rallies, and on the surface it sounds good, right? Who doesn't want their country to be number one? But you have to ask yourself, how can you put America first if you aren't even conscious to lead it? When you fall asleep in the middle of a peace deal, you aren't putting America first. You are embarrassing America first. You are telling the world that we are tired, that we are checked out, and that we don't have the bandwidth to deal with global problems anymore. And that is a dangerous message to send, because when America steps back, or in this case nods off, bad actors step in. Nature abhors a vacuum, and so does geopolitics if we aren't there. Awake and alert, someone else will be. And I guarantee you they won't have our best interests at heart. But it goes deeper than just foreign policy. If he's sleeping through a meeting with President Kagame, do you think he's staying awake for the briefing on your healthcare costs? Do you think he's wide awake when they're discussing the price of prescription drugs or how to lower your grocery bill? I doubt it. If he can't stay focused with the cameras rolling and the world watching, imagine what happens behind closed doors when no one is looking. That's the part that keeps me up at night. The presidency isn't about the big speeches. It's about the grind. It's about reading the 200-page report on a Tuesday night, because you have to make a decision on Wednesday morning that affects millions of people. It's about the unglamorous, tiring work of governance. And frankly, we are seeing a man who just doesn't have the gas in the tank for that anymore. He wants the title. He wants the applause. He wants the Institute of Peace named after him, but he doesn't want the work. And you, the American people, you are the ones paying the price for that. You are paying for a CEO who is asleep at his desk while the company struggles. You deserve a president who treats this job with the seriousness it demands, not someone who treats the Oval Office like a retirement home. Let's be real for a second. We need to talk about the Sleepy Joe thing. I'm not bringing it up to be petty. I'm bringing it up because it tells you something important about Donald Trump. Psychologists have a word for this. They call it projection. It's when you take your own deepest insecurities, your own weaknesses, and you accuse everyone else of having them. For years, he screamed that I was low energy, that I was senile, that I didn't know where I was. He pounded that message every single day. And why? Because deep down, he knew he was the one slowing down. He knew he was the one struggling to keep up. He wanted you to look at me so you wouldn't look at him. It was a magic trick. Look at the left hand so you don't see what the right hand is doing. Well, the curtain has been pulled back. The magic trick is over. We can all see it now. The emperor has no clothes. And the president has no stamina, and it's not funny anymore. It's tragic. It's tragic for a country that prides itself on strength and vitality. I get it, folks. We all age. I know I'm not a young man. I've never hidden that from you. I walk a little slower than I used to. I stutter a bit, like I always have, but my eyes are open. My mind is engaged. I know the difference between right and wrong. And I know that when you are sitting next to a foreign leader who has traveled halfway across the world, you owe them your attention. The presidency is a service. It's a duty. It's not about you. It's about us. And when you treat it like a burden that bores you to sleep, you are disrespecting the millions of people who voted for you and the millions more who rely on you. We are in a volatile moment in history. Technology is changing everything. The climate is changing. Alliances are shifting. We need a leader who's on their toes, not back on their heels. We need a leader who is hungry to solve problems, not a leader who is just hungry for a nap. The contrast couldn't be clearer. I look at my grandkids and I think about the world they are going to inherit. It's a complicated world that's moving faster than ever before. Artificial intelligence, climate shifts, new powers rising in the East. These aren't things you can handle with your eyes closed. You can't just coast on the reputation of the past. You have to be in the arena fighting for every inch, every single day. And that's what worries me the most about what we saw this week. It's not just that Donald Trump is tired. It's that America looks tired when the face of our nation can't stay awake during a pivotal moment for peace. It signals to everyone, our allies, our enemies, and our own children, that maybe we just don't have the fight in us anymore. That maybe we are ready to pass the torch because it's gotten too heavy to hold up. But I don't believe that. I know the American people. I've met you in union halls in Pennsylvania, and diners in Nevada, in churches in South Carolina. You aren't tired. You are working harder than ever. You are awake. You are alert. You are ready to build the future. The problem isn't the people. The problem is the leadership. There is a disconnect between the energy of this nation and the lethargy in the White House. We have so much potential. We have the smartest scientists, the hardest workers, the bravest soldiers, but all of that potential needs direction. It needs a commander-in-chief who is present. You can't lead the free world on autopilot. You can't negotiate with tough customers like Putin or Xi if you're nodding off in the middle of the sentence. They will eat your lunch. And right now, folks, our lunch is being eaten while the president takes a siesta. It breaks my heart because I know what this country is capable of. We are the country that went to the moon. We are the country that defeated fascism. We are the country that cured diseases. We didn't do those things by sleeping in. We did them by waking up early, staying up late, and never ever giving up. We need that spirit back in the Oval Office. We need the lights on, and we need someone home. So here's the deal. We're at a crossroads. We can accept this as the new normal, a presidency that is part-time, distracted, and low energy. We can accept being the punchline of the world's jokes. We can accept that our seat at the table is empty because the guy sitting in it is fast asleep, or we can demand better. We can remember who we are. We are the United States of America, and we deserve a leader who respects the office enough to stay awake for it. We deserve a leader who respects you enough to give you their full attention. It's not about politics. It's not about Republican or Democrat. It's about dignity. It's about competence. It's about having a president who is as awake and alive as the country he serves. I still believe in us. I still believe that our best days are ahead of us, not behind us. But to get there, we have to wake up. We have to stop making excuses for behavior that wouldn't be tolerated in any other job in America. We have to look in the mirror and say, we can do better than this, because we can and we must. Thank you for listening to me today. I know it's not easy to hear, but it had to be said. If you believe, like I do, that America deserves a leader who is fully present, I need you to do something for me right now. Hit that like button so more people can hear this message. Leave a comment below. Tell me, do you think this is acceptable behavior from a president? I want to hear your voice. And please subscribe to the channel and become a member. Join us. Let's build a community that stays awake, that stays engaged, and that fights for the soul of this nation. We've got a lot of work to do, and I can't do it without you. Let's keep the lights on together. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops.